Hey friends, welcome to the Call to Farms podcast. I'm your host, Tim, the homesteading agent, joined by my lovely wife, Sophie.
Hey friends, this is Sophie with Sprinkle with Soil and the Homesteading Lender.
We're excited to be back. We've done lots of travel the past week. We've gone to Detroit, New York. We can't wait to get into it. And we can't wait to give you a housing market update, which is long overdue.
We try to get on and do a housing market update once a month. That's what we do, promise. So we're here for December, and I can't believe it's already mid-December already. We're getting ready for 2026.
That's right. And if you've been tuning in, we did a two-part series when I went back to West Point for my 20-year reunion. And Sophie had a couple of really cool interviews in between.
Oh, yeah. It's been busy. We're getting back to the rhythm and getting caught up with everything now that we have proper equipment and proper lighting. We really want to step up our game and promise what we set off to do this year. So we're going to be hitting 2026 strong. There's so much that we've learned in the last couple of weeks. And we've talked to so many families regarding not just their home purchase, but their refinance. And honestly, debt consolidation has been the majority of my conversations in the last month. And so I do want to talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay, you ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
Okay, so the Feds announced last week that they were cutting rates again, but of course, our rates are not tied to the Fed rates. It is tied to the Treasury bonds. And all of that pricing has already been taken to effect. So by the time the Fed says they're going to cut the interest rates, it really doesn't have much of an effect to our mortgage rates. We did see a slight drop, but not significant enough. The conversations that I've had the last couple of weeks, quite frankly, have been around debt consolidation. A lot of people are now, I feel, tired of waiting for refinances. They're seeing the rates drop, but it's not dropping drastically. And quite frankly, what Jerome Powell has said for 2026, we're already hearing whispers of it not really happening in 2026. Rates are around 6 to 6.5%. And with the way that the job market is going, the inflation, what we're seeing is it's going to be about where we're at. I've had multiple clients want to get the refinance done. I have one in particular who's rushing to get it done before the holidays. Everybody knows it's Christmas time, and a lot of people are taking out, whether it's not just their cash, but putting their gifts and presents on credit cards. And I'll just tell you, it's not something that is a wise thing to do. We haven't participated in Christmas in 5 years now. This will be our fifth non-Christmas. And we find other ways to show those that we love them without having to spend thousands of dollars in Christmas gifts. But I understand that there are families out there where it's important to them, and we try to meet them where they're at. And all that to say, I have multiple families where I'm wiping out $50,000 in debt. I just got a loan in, and we're doing $150,000 in debt. There are veterans amongst us. There are so many. We have VA IRRRLs, which are very quick and easy. There's no appraisal. I've also been doing 4 HELOCs in this past month. And a HELOC is a home equity line of credit. And what that allows you to do is, if you have a home, allows you to take out the equity that you have existing in your home, and you can take up to 90% of whatever the appraised value is, except that we don't have to do an appraisal with a HELOC. We could do, called an AVM. And what that does is it gives you an estimated value, and the banks will go after that. Couple of things to note. I had a client this past week. We went to Kentucky. You forgot that we went to Kentucky too. Kentucky, Detroit, New York, the last couple of weeks. And we were in Kentucky. And while we were there, I had a borrower send me a copy of his loan estimate from another lender because he thought that I only did home purchase financing, because we helped him buy his home. Tim helped him find his home, and I helped purchase the home with financing for him. He didn't realize that we also do refinances and HELOCs, and I will take that as an error on my part, lack of marketing for myself. And so he gave me his loan estimate for me to review, and I reviewed it. And as I did, I told him, hey, this was an FHA, so first time home buyer, and we were doing a refinance, a cash out refinance. He's in debt, and he wanted to make sure that he was getting 5.75 as the lender had told him on the phone. He even wrote down his monthly payment, and that he was going to be able to take out $90,000. So in reviewing his loan estimate, I showed, and I also took screenshots of this and I've shared it up on my Facebook and my Instagram, of course, redacting all of the private information, but circling where he had actually signed his loan estimate for 5.99%. And when I told him that, he didn't believe me. And I showed him right here, and he was just appalled. And then I showed him that, hey, you're only getting about $64,000 in cash back. You're not getting your 90,000. And he said, if I don't get the 90,000, then I don't want to do this loan. And I told this guy that he should have known that about me. And yet still this paperwork showed my client that he wasn't getting anything that he wanted. And this is the thing about lenders and why we do what we do, because there's a term of loan shark out there, and it comes from bad lenders who do business this way. They bait and switch you. They tell you one thing and then they get you on another. Sometimes I will talk to a client and say, hey, this is what I think you should be in. And then as we go through, we pull credit, we look at the debt to income ratio. It sometimes comes where we have to switch out a program. But I always make sure that I fully communicate that with my borrowers so they know exactly what they're getting at any time. That's not a surprise. But there are other lenders out there who don't do that and will literally sell something with a lower interest rate, with lower closing costs, with maximum cash back, and ultimately have you sign paperwork. That is absolutely not true. We have now walked him through the process where I got what his goals were, why he wanted the 90,000. And this is why it's important to work with someone who is a mortgage broker. A mortgage broker like myself has access to over 150 different lenders. So I'm not just working for one bank, I work for myself, and I can broker out your scenario, my deal, right? And so what that means is instead of trying to pigeonhole my clients into whatever programs that my one bank has, I can see what my clients are trying to do and fit them into the best loan program that I have available to them. So in this particular case, I asked and dug a little bit further, and I asked my client, why was he looking for the 90,000? Did he really need the 90,000 to pay off all that debt? And it turns out that actually he only needed 50,000 to pay off his debt, and he wanted additional 40,000 to just have cash on the side for a rainy day and any future business investment. So I said, okay, here's what we're going to do instead. We are going to do a cash out refinance on the 50,000 and wipe out all of your debt. And then the additional 40,000, what we're going to do is we're going to get a HELOC. A HELOC is a home equity line of credit. It typically has a higher interest rate than if you were to do a typical cash out refinance. But the benefit of having a home equity line of credit is that you can let your money sit there for about 10 years. You are not required to draw out any of that money. And if you don't draw out any of that money, then you don't actually have to pay for anything per month. Now, let's say, for example, he wanted to pull out that extra 40,000, which we can do. With that 40,000, if he decides he just wants to pull out 10,000, he only has to pay interest only payments on that 10,000 or on the amount that he drew. So that's the benefit. Unlike your normal mortgage loan, where you now have it amortized for the full 90,000 over 30 years, he's now just consolidating that 50,000 in the cash out refi, and then the remaining 40 that he just wanted for a rainy day fund, he can just have that set aside for him. And so he can continue to pay off that loan and then reborrow from it for the next 10 years. So that's what we're doing for him. And he's so grateful. And as It is two separate deals, which is quite a bit of work. He definitely wants it done before Christmas. So I will get it done and my team will get it done. But the messages that I've gotten from him alone of gratitude and of saying, thank you so much. I don't know how much I owe you. And I'm so grateful that you're able to walk me through this. This is why we do what we do. We walk alongside our clients, not just for the one deal or the one purchase or the one refinance. We're there for our borrowers and our clients who then become our friends for their lifetime and then for their family members and then for their friends. And that's why we do what we do. Sadly, there's a lot of people in the real estate industry that have really spoiled and tainted what real estate agents and loan officers should be. We should be advisors for our clients. And unfortunately, sometimes a lot of the lenders and real estate agents out there take advantage of borrowers because they just don't know. And so we really take it upon ourselves, Tim and I, to educate our borrowers. You can take what we're going to show you and you can go ahead and shop it around.
That's exactly what we do. So we listen to the goals of our clients, and then they may come in thinking that they want a certain product. They may think that they want a cash out refi. But in this example alone, Sophie was able to listen into what he was wanting to do and being able to explore and say, maybe we can do a combination of the cash out refi as well as that HELOC, because this way you don't have to pay interest on the total sum of money, but just only the money that you need right here, right now. And having Sophie with her years of experience as another set of eyes to go over it, because oftentimes we're always doing electronic signatures on documents, whether it's real estate or on loan docs. And we don't have the time to often read through all the fine language. And it's so easy to just click through everything. To his astonishment, being able to look at it now along with Sophie and seeing that what he signed for is not what was promised or what was spoken about on the phone. Obviously, if this happened to you, you would be taken aback. What just happened here? What are you doing? That this is why, as Sophie mentioned, this is what we do. And I'm excited to also announce that I'm getting into lending too. So this was another huge thing that happened over the past couple of weeks. I got my MLO license. I'm learning alongside, but I've been learning through osmosis from Sophie,
Over the
however
last
many
20
years
years.
of selling real estate. So I could always answer a little bit of the questions on lending because I can hear her conversations that she's had with my clients. And no one deal has ever been a cookie cutter, simple deal. There's always some sort of nuance that has to be done. And in fact, Sophie's has always fought for all of our clients. I fight too, but Sophie, there were times where I said, that cannot be done. Just let it go, leave it alone. I've even consulted with other loan officers, but Sophie has always resurrected a deal and is always, and I'm like knocking on wood, always, at least all my clients, she has closed every single one of them, even the ones that were really hairy in terms of the different nuances. So I am very excited to join. And I also want to caveat this. She is an independent broker, so she has access to all these banks, and she does use one of the number one wholesale mortgage lenders in the country. I've joined a retail one and it is the number one retail. So I do have one set of products, but they are extremely competitive priced, and I can lend in all 50 states as well. And that includes DC and Puerto Rico. We know people are going to shop. We have smart, intelligent clients who do their due diligence and not just going to take our word for it. And we don't want you to take our word for it. But by listening in and tuning into our podcast, you know how we think, you know how we do business. And we are going to work hard to give you not only the best rate, but also the best service throughout, because our business is grown through your referrals. And by her focusing on the wholesale side and I'm focusing on the retail side, all loan officers work off the same rate sheet. So between the two of us, we are going to get you the best rate. So go ahead and shop us. We dare you to. And then before she jumps into this next, because we have so many vignettes this past week alone, it's been super busy and that's been a huge blessing. She mentioned that we haven't celebrated Christmases in the past 5 years. That was my very favorite holiday growing up, and we can do a special podcast episode on why we don't do it, but it all stems back to maybe around 2019, 2020-ish, and we can talk about that, but it's more for religious reasons why we don't celebrate Christmas anymore. It wasn't because of a financial thing, in case there was some sort of confusion there.
I want to caveat to say that I'm not negating the fact that real estate agents don't work hard. Okay. I want to say that first. Real estate agents work very hard. You work very hard and you fight and protect our clients' money in negotiations, right? You make sure that there's always a way out for our clients. I want to say that. One of the things about lending that most people don't realize is though you may purchase your home, what you need to do is be able to interview and make sure that your lending options are the best ones for you because you are signing in for a 30-year mortgage. Right. And like people typically don't think about that. They think about buying their home, negotiating that, but you have to work with a trusted advisor on your lending options. It's not, sometimes it doesn't just come down to rates. And I want to give you an example of what happened this week with another client that came from one of the posts that I wrote about of the previous one. Okay. So I took some screenshots, of course, redacted the information, put it up. And one of the ladies reached out to me and said, "Thank you for sharing this. I have a loan estimate here that I just got today. I would really like your eyes on it. I haven't signed." So, unlike my other client who signed because they didn't know that I did refinances, this one said, "Hey, can you take a look at this for me?" This one has almost $150,000 in debt. It's overall, there's some assets in there, credit cards, car loans, a little bit of everything, tractor, everything in there. And so this lender actually charged them almost $5,000 to be at a 5.5%, which is the rate that my clients are in currently. So they're doing a cash out refi. And so for you to get a rate that's equal to the rate that you're at, typically will cost you something because cash out refis typically have a cost to it or a higher interest rate. And the reason why I tell this story is because interest rate may not always be the right answer if cash flow is the right answer. And we'll talk about that because we actually have been playing cash flow from Rich Dad Poor Dad with the children. So we're teaching them this past week and a half because of trying to explain this to them and they didn't understand it. They hear the conversations that's going on and these are life experiences that they are learning, but when you play games with children, it becomes real to them. Mm-hmm. And it's great because we're learning a lot too. And so my client sent this to me and I reviewed it and I said, "Wait, why is your loan officer making you pay an extra $5,000 to pay off your debt when he already knows that you are in debt and trying to pay down your debt?" You're trying to do a debt consolidation, yet he added another $5,000 on top of closing costs for you to do this. And here's a caveat. It's a VA loan. Okay. So with VAs, here's the other thing with lenders, right? Because I've been in the business for 20 years, I've had a whole slew of scenarios presented to me. There's not really one scenario that I haven't seen, right? I've even done unvested RSU. So like money that doesn't even exist yet for a tech employee, I've made exist so I can close the deal. I'll find some bank that will take that. And I did. However, with a VA loan, a lot of lenders do not know how to work with our veterans. We have been able to work with and alongside a lot of veterans, mainly because we use the VA loan ourselves as a West Point grad and a veteran himself and with disability. So the problem with getting this deal in a 5.5% is that with a VA loan, in order for you to refinance on a VA, in case you didn't know this, you have to show that there's going to be at least a 0.5% improvement in the rate before they can refinance. Now, I cannot tell you the last time we saw VA rates at 5%. It might have been maybe 2 years, 2.5 years ago since we've seen it. And that is, I'd even say that's stretching. I say that we've done that deal ourselves, but we had to buy down to that rate. So really, if you're trying to do a cash out refi, it doesn't make sense to get the veteran at a lower rate. It's better if you get them at, for example, in this case, a 6%, so that most of the closing costs are covered and there's no points that the veteran has to buy down, so that in 7 months, because on a VA loan, you have to wait 210 days, unlike a conventional loan where you only have to wait 180 days or 6 months. On a VA loan, in 7 months, when we refinance, so by July or August of next year, depending on when we close, we will be able to do a VA IRL. A VA IRL is a very quick, streamlined refinance, rate and term refinance for veterans that will get them down to at least a 5.5. I have full confidence that we'll be able to be at 5.5% interest rate on a VA by August of next year. But I've positioned my veteran so that they and their family can be in a position to pay off $100,000 worth of debt doing a cash out refi, and then waiting to do a VA IRL, so doing a rate in terms that they lower their interest rate even more in 7 months after they pay off all that debt. That is the benefit of working with someone who knows how to structure the deal. I have my master's in clinical psychology, and though I do lending because my brain is always fired up with math, at the heart of it, I think 90% of my job is marriage counseling and asking families, asking individuals what their goal is and what they're trying to do, what's stressing them out. And at the end of my call with him today, when he went to sign his papers, I said, this is what we're going to do. This is the roadmap to you paying off $150,000 in debt in just 8 months. How does that make you feel? And he said, oh, I can breathe again. And to me, that just makes it worth the hour-long conversation that we had together, brainstorming, seeing what works and what doesn't work and what's going to be the best scenario for them, because now their family has a light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm so grateful to be able to walk alongside them.
Yeah. So we're definitely seeing a trend now in the past few months on debt consolidation. And for those who are looking to buy, they've been more cautiously optimistic, maybe doing their due diligence now, reaching out to us now in their research to get ready to buy in the spring. I want to talk a little bit about clients that I'm working with now. I have buyers who are under contract, and I wanted to share this vignette. We're going through inspection period right now, and that runs congruently or concurrently with when they're under contract or when a house is going pending. And this home, it's a very nice home. It's a home, it's their very first home. And I walk them through everything in terms of what inspections they need to request. They sometimes, when you're purchasing something, especially as large as this, which can be your single largest asset, you may not know what questions to even ask. And I love it when my clients do rely on me. I take this job very seriously, and I want to make sure that they do their full due diligence. So we did so many different inspections, from fireplaces to chimneys to the retaining wall outside, because this home is built in the side of a hill. And we even did the mold report, we did so many different things. Now, when I go into these inspections, I'm not looking to try to save all this money, but by doing so and doing our due diligence, this is a result of it. Now, in the real estate industry, there are realtors who will go out and say, I promise to save you X amount of dollars. And they purposely put an offer in, and then they try to get tens of thousands of dollars off. And those offers are not realistic because they don't even cite it. They don't even get real estimates. They don't even get real inspectors to come. And this actually happened to a referral that I have out in Texas. And I just heard about it today. And that's why that offer, that whole deal blew up. But back to my clients, I know that this home is an older home. It's built in the 70s. I know there are things that need to be addressed. So we're going to take different bids. We're going to have inspectors come out. I even asked the listing agent for inspectors that they recommend themselves. And by doing this, that inspector actually gave a very high price, but that was actually on the listing agent because they recommended that particular inspector there. But at the end of the day, I share the story because I want to take care of my clients as if I'm purchasing the house myself. I want to make sure that I'm doing the due diligence and helping them out. And through this process, they are saving a little over $50,000. And this is because, and I'm mentioning this because in speaking with buyers this past week, the question has come up consistently: how's the market? Are sellers offering concessions? And the answer is yes, they are. Across the board, across the country, the housing market has sunk a little bit. It's slowed down and it is more of a buyer's market. And sellers who are on the market right now, they need to sell. So they are offering buyer concessions in terms of paying for their buyer's broker's fees and also chipping in for the closing costs, as well as lowering the cost of the purchase price of the home. And I was able to do all three of those things with my client. And this is something that I've done actually pretty consistently with all my buyers. I've been able to help them save money. Yes, that is a very good thing to do, to be able to help save money for my clients. But the most important thing is making sure that they feel confident going through the process, that they never feel rushed into it, especially it's their first home. They've never done this before. It could be feeling scary there. But I want to make sure that at the end of the day, they feel super confident that they've made the right decision. They've checked everything that they need to check. And that is a really nice bonus to be able to save money. And I've been pretty consistent with that and helping them save some funds there. So now is the best time. And you're mentioning about realtors working hard. Realtors are working hard across the board, whether they're selling a house or helping the clients buy the house. And I'm working really hard right now, assisting my clients in making sure that they're making the right purchase. And it's been really fun helping them save money.
Yeah, you do work hard. That's why I said there's so many things that if you're thinking about buying a home, you need to factor in who your team is going to be. You have to have a solid team because you may not know the questions to ask, but we have been in the business for so
Mhm.
long and we've worked with so many different types of scenarios that we are going to fight for our clients no matter what. That's just how we've always done business. Didn't matter what the size of the deal was. We're always rooting for the underdog, right? We're the underdog and we know what it feels like as military veterans trying to buy in the Bay Area against all cash offers and we're coming at 0% down.
And
We've
I
been there.
And I wanna talk about that now because I wanna talk about the one-time close client that we
Mhm.
have, because when you said we're rooting for the underdogs because 'cause we've been there, this particular client who we're helping them use a one-time close loan. So not only can you have your cake, but eat it too. You can have the land that you want and build a brand new home the way that you want it as well rolled in. But they had mentioned, because it's been going a little bit back and forth, they're getting into the dream phase where they're designing that home. They had mentioned about working class, and I'm saying we work with working class people. We don't just work with people with a lot of money. We do work with people with a lot of money, but at the end of the day, we want to understand at the heart of the matter what your goals are. It doesn't matter what your budget is, okay? We will make sure that we can help you match your goals with your budget. And that's what we get a lot of fulfillment from.
Yeah, we do. And it's been wonderful to walk with these clients. They're honestly one of my favorite clients
Mhm.
because they remind me of us. And so we're happy to have them escape where they're coming from to be a little bit closer to us. And we share the same values and we're able to help them find the land that they want. And these are the ones that, like ourselves and like many of our clients, have spreadsheets of what they want, what they're wanting to build, the type of home they want, very specific details, and have been very inspiring for me personally as I'm walking them through this, that makes me want to build on our land because we can do the exact same loan
Yeah.
with them, but make it so that it is completely possible for us to finally build our dream barnuminium kitchen with vent space.
Yeah, who doesn't wanna do that? I've had clients who say, "Tim, I wanna save money. I just wanna build in phases. I wanna just purchase the land now and save money and then build later." What if you can do both right here and right now? It's still gonna take about a year or so to build, but why not secure and use the bank's money to do that? And I wanted to talk about these same clients we were just talking about because it's been a journey for them. They're also from California, but it's been a beautiful journey. They've been tuning in and being avid listeners to our Call to Farms podcast. They even drove out to our Homesteaders United Jamboree. So we got to meet them in person, got to answer their questions. It was a very special time. And we've formed a very special bond through this journey because before they had reached out to us, they had purchased land in Georgia and then it was the wrong type of land and it just didn't work out for them because they didn't have that support. Similar to how we felt when we were moving from California to Tennessee, we didn't have a realtor or a loan officer who could explain things to us or could find the right land for us. We're happy to say they found the right property in Tennessee. We're practically neighbors and they're able to build the home that they want. And it's a very beautiful story.
We will have a separate webinar on the one time close loans because it's one of the best ones. We get so many clients who come and
Mhm.
that they want to buy land and they want to build their home. Now I actually have a potential lender who's starting to open up to barndominiums. There's going to be some extenuous guidelines around that, but the one time close loan is something that has existed for a while.
Yeah.
It's for people who want to roll in the cost of purchasing the land as well as the cost of the construction. And so we have relationships with someone to help you draw
Mhm.
your dream home. And we have relationships with a builder. But all of that to say, this is the best loan because all you have to do is put 5% down. And if you're a veteran, this loan is also available to you at 0% down.
Zero.
It's really gotten my head spinning with what we could do. We
Yeah.
have our own 22 acres. We have dreams of building an RV, what is it, campground, and an event space where
Yeah.
our fellowship can gather and our future conferences will be there. I would love to do farm to table dinner nights there, music around the garden and the orchard. Not a immediate need right now, but
No, but
would be
it's
a fantastic project to work on.
the sky's the limit. I wish people had informed us about the one-time closed loan because this is probably one of the best kept secrets in the loan industry. And this leads me to talk about my latest listing. My clients whom I helped, they actually found me from Instagram when I posted up a reel that went viral because I had another seller who was selling land that he inherited. It was the 23 acres and it got so much attention. And my sellers today, they saw that and said, you know what? If you can get this much attention for this property that you're selling, and this happened to be nearby, they said, we want you to sell our property. And I said, okay. So I went out to go check out their
Well,
property. This was earlier this
but
year.
she also said that she doesn't typically work with agents.
She's an investor. She typically does her own deals. And so I understand that she's saving on fees but she's working out of a small town and she understands and realizes that I have a greater reach because of the influence I have on other homesteaders and soon to be homesteaders. Those of you who tune into our Call the Farms podcast, who are subscribing to our YouTube channel or are watching on our social media platforms, thank you so much.
Thank you.
She saw this and was like, you know what? Let's just test this out. Go ahead. I purchased this property on an auction. It was a couple acres. It had an old farmhouse. And she said, I was originally going to put a mobile home on it and try to flip it. But after seeing it now and looking at it, this would be a very nice small homestead for someone who wanted to get started on it. And lo and behold, one of our avid listeners who had been listening for over a year and a half and saw me on the Nick Freitas reel that I had with him, she reached out and said, I'm taking care of my parents, Tim. I don't know why I've been waiting this long. And she's from New Jersey. She goes, I've always wanted to go to Tennessee and I've always wanted to begin homesteading. Now's better than ever. So I might as well just check it out. And she came down. I showed her that same property that my seller wanted me to list. She saw it. It was the perfect property for her. It's nice, it's secluded, yet close enough to town. And yet there are trees that provide privacy all the way around this property. It's gorgeous. We sold that property very quickly.
And I helped her with the lending.
He did the loan. And then 2 weeks ago, it was on a Saturday, that same client who was a seller, she went to the auction looking to purchase 3 parcels. And these parcels were about 5 acres apiece, but she ended up buying all 8 parcels that was for sale. It was an old farm. It was 58 acres. So now she has 58 acres that she just purchased from an auction. It's 8 parcels that are already surveyed, already recorded at the county. And this is in Hawkins County too, in Tennessee. Now, this is a constitutional county. It's highly desired. And she said,
She called you. She
she called me.
texted
She said,
right away.
I said, I didn't know what else to do but just to reach out to you, Tim, because of what we just did with that 2 acre property. I know you're going to be able to reach out to your audience about this 58 acre parcel because it is beautiful. I went out there on Sunday and I walked the land. It is primarily all pasture land, and there are trees that border it too. And it's sitting on top of a hill, and there are a couple of ponds too. It's a gorgeous property, but my gears started turning because we have our client that's utilizing the one-time close loan. And because we're doing the one-time close loan, we've built the relationships and we've tested, we've seen the quality from the designer, the builder, and going through this process. And it's been such a fairly smooth process. I'm knocking on wood here that we want to be able to replicate that. So, why work so hard when I've already got this land laid out right here? So, if you want a 5 acre parcel, a 10 acre parcel, or if you want to combine some of these parcels together for your new homestead and build your home, now you can do that. It's a one-stop shop. You'll be able to reach out to us and we can give you, you don't have to go with who we're recommending at all. Okay. We don't get anything from the builder at all.
Yeah.
Okay. But what we do get is the satisfaction of knowing that the deal is going to close and you're going to be satisfied with the type of building you're going to get.
Right.
But go ahead and compare. But the main thing I wanted to say is that there are 8 beautiful parcels of land available ready to homestead on.
And the builder that we are working with is already an approved licensed contractor. They're
Yeah.
general contractor. They have an incredible, we know them, we know their business and family relationships. They're out of Middle Tennessee, and they had said that they're willing to come all the way out here to do all of the builds,
All 8.
all 8,
Yep.
because of the quality of their business and
The integrity.
the conversations that I have had with every single person on their team. And I basically interview everybody on behalf of my clients because I'm crazy like that.
She's a researcher.
I want to know what's going to happen if tariffs in 2026, if it continues to rise, if my client signed and closed this month, what is going to happen? Because I want to make sure that my clients are able to build the house that they want.
Yep. And it's a firm fixed price.
That is what sold me on them. And then they said that they would honor the price regardless because of the way that they order. They supply not only for their own builds, but they supply for actually their competitors that build homes like this. So they have multiple avenues of their business. They have extremely great communication. I always have someone that picks up the phone whenever I call, which is very important, especially on very time sensitive deals like these. I have direct contact to the owner of the business, the drawer, the sales rep, like everyone down the line, the admin person. I've talked to every single person that would touch the file on their end. And I'm a little neurotic about it because I want to make sure that my clients are taken care of, that they have a good experience, because I would want us to have that experience. And I would want someone to go to bat for me for such a huge investment like this.
And that's something that we've missed coming from California is that we move really fast. There are Tennesseans that do move fast, but it's very different culture here. And
I was just going to say, like, to your point, though, like everybody that I've spoken to,
yeah,
from the drawer, the sales
the
rep,
drawer, the designer.
the designer, okay, whatever. Okay,
Mm,
the designer to the sales rep
yeah.
and the people that I keep pushing,
Yes.
they're all from California.
Oh,
So
they
like,
all
so
okay.
yeah, so
So
it's funny because we're like we all are used to working at this fast pace versus those
yeah,
local to Tennessee where we have to
it's a little
speak a
bit
little bit
it's a
different.
little bit slower, but I do appreciate that as well. So it's been a good blend. But why I mention this is that we understand and appreciate that most of our clients are coming from out of state. And we come from one of the from California where things need to be going really quickly in terms of communication. If we sent you something, we expect to hear something like within the hour, not within 24 hours, but within the hour, like at least an acknowledgement that you received it or something. And I have clients who need to know as well because
Yeah.
that's the way we are. And it's refreshing to find a builder or to work with different, and this is the people we work with, we test this. We want to make sure that there's timely information. And just like what Sophie mentioned, that if she doesn't get the timely information, she has access to the CEO, to the owner of the company. And this is a very small company. Okay. And from what we've seen so far, that they do very good work. And why I want to mention this is that you would think that if they're coming from Middle Tennessee, it doesn't make any logical sense for them to commit and be able to do these builds in East Tennessee. And I want to mention that does for them because they are from the source. They get the materials straight from the source and then they don't gouge their clients. And in East Tennessee, it's been very frustrating. I'm not saying this as a whole, but I'm saying there's a lot of trades where if you call someone and say you need them here at a certain time, a certain day, it's a 50-50 shot if they're actually going to show up on time or even that day. And so it can be extremely frustrating, especially if you're going to be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to build a house. You want to make sure that you have control over all the trades. And what Sophie was just talking about is a big deal because if you get this general contractor to commit not only to the price, you're getting a great price, but also committing to the quality and the build and the timeline, then they control all their subs and they can bring all their subs and equipment with them. And that ensures that the project is actually going to stay on task, like on time versus getting pushed to the right because of, I know weather will always delay things, but you don't want it to delay because someone didn't show up.
And that's the thing, right? I had told our clients, I know I can close deals very quickly. I have deals where on a purchase I've closed in one day. I think my average is 7 days on a purchase close, including getting an appraisal done. And that's pretty record speed. The one thing that makes me nervous about the one time close is because we have to go through a third party approval. So, though I know I can move pretty fast myself, I don't know how quickly the builder is going to move to get the paperwork into the third party
Mhm.
company, the risk management company to review. And
Yeah.
this has been a very enjoyable process for me in that, like, as much as I push, they do respond and
Yeah.
I don't have to push hard. I guess what I'm trying to say. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. And everybody has been very professional. And we will be having a separate webinar to be discussing more detail about the one time
Hmm.
close loan, what the specific guidelines and requirements are, and what the process looks like. And I truly love the fact that this is also available not just to everybody else who can afford the 5% down at least, but for veterans who have oftentimes, like us, dream of living a more self sufficient life, an off grid life,
Yeah.
a more resilient lifestyle on their own with lots of land away from everybody. And I think that's where you have your piece
Mhm.
to where we are at
Yeah.
as veterans. We're strapped for cash. And so this is such a beautiful opportunity for our veterans as well to be able to afford being able to do this one time close loan. And we have another one time close that we're working on that just came in the pipe, and also in the East Tennessee area. So now that we are licensed and are expanding our team to cover all 50 states, we will be able to do the one-time close in all 50 states.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's very exciting.
I want to talk a little bit about this past week too, because you've been traveling all over the place and I've joined you on some of it. It's mainly to Detroit, where we went to UWM.
You
and
fought me. You didn't even want to come. You kept asking me.
I don't like to get out. I'm going to stay back. I got to take care of the family, the livestock. But I'm glad that we went, even though it was like in the winter time. There's snow everywhere in Detroit. It's my first time to
Okay, it
Detroit.
was pretty bad.
It's very cold. But we got to go to UWM and we got to learn a lot of new things, but we also got to share.
Oh my goodness. Okay, first of all, let me just speak about UWM. UWM is the number one wholesale mortgage broker in the United States. And this is my second time out there. I don't know if I said it last time, but I was out there, I think in October, and learned so much about them. I appreciated them more because when I was there a couple of months ago, the parking lot was full by 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And when you and I got there last week, with all the snow sticking with the wind and everything,
The road conditions were icy.
it was all icy.
They were still there.
There was no parking at 9
We
a.m.
couldn't even get parking.
And I think I had some choice words when I was walking from a very long distance through the ice into the building. But I kept thinking, oh, no wonder why my deals close so quickly. It's because of the level of commitment that the employees have here. They come in rain, sleet, or snow, and they will make sure that our deals are closed. So I am so appreciative for all the employees, my account executive that I call at sometimes 7:30 at night after working hours, and I'm so sorry.
Oh my goodness.
But
She's terrible.
I gifted him my cookbook, and he's so awesome.
I'm just telling you, I'm a West Pointer. I've been in the Army. I've been deployed, and these people have my respect. There are thousands of workers at UWM, and I think they work 12-hour days. It is insane. They are there before we get there. We're there for the full 8-hour day, and they're still there even after we leave. This is the reason why your deals close.
But they are committed. And as much as I try to send, and I do send my deals elsewhere when, of course, if pricing is beat, but they have gotten to a point where, yeah, it's very, very not just competitive for price, but speed and quality of work. And I have the full confidence that when I submit, I'm going to be able to close and close quickly on my deals. And there is no better feeling than having that reassurance when I know that if I take it here, I can take care of my clients. And
Right.
my account executive and I are very tight.
Yeah.
Yes, I said I call him after hours and he doesn't have to pick up, but he picks up. He supports 170 of me. And
He was helping you in person while you were there as
Right.
well. You were taking care of your clients there. And we were taking some classes there to learn about some of their new products to stay on top of things. So I loved how we were able to learn new products, which we're going to be able to share at this new homebuyer workshop that we're going to be hosting.
on
But
Thursday,
also,
yeah.
but also that you were able to go to bat even more so for your clients while you were there in person. But the really exciting part was that we were able to share. In fact, the owner of Innovative Mortgage, Brian, he wanted us to share our story and how we can help the other loan officers there who are extremely successful in what they do in their different markets that they're working in. They are crushing it, but they are also still leaving money on the table because we were able to teach and share a story about how to properly brand and how to use tech, more so how to use AI in today's world.
Right. There is so much room for everybody to win. So, though we were asked to speak to other loan officers, AKA our potential competitors, literally at the company, and I am one of the top 10 producers of a brokerage of 300. So just knowing that, and I am competitive with myself. That's just me and my nature. I want everybody else to raise themselves up only because that will inspire me to be even better. I want me to be better. I want you to be better. And selfishly, I want you to be better so I can compete and I can be better. And I think that's one of the things that I've always seen life and business that way. Though we compete, there's so much room for everybody to win. We happen to love really good, real wholesome food. We happen to love helping people come back to the land, people who are like us, whether you're in tech or whether you're a military. We have such a diverse background and we speak to a lot of people. But ultimately, at the core of it, we just want people to go back and live intentionally. We are here, we're in front of our computer most of the day, but we love that we are able to put our hands in the dirt. And that could be on a quarter acre that we were at before, or we could be on the 40 acres. You don't have to have all the acreage. It's not important that's dire to be part of it. Anyhow, yeah, it was really great to share our story of how we started from zero. I had started in lending in 2006, and it was a terrible time because I had all of the lending tree leftover leads, that the scores in the 500s, and it was really hard to call people to try to help them. And when I tried to help them, I couldn't because their scores were too low. And so those were the conversations that I had. And then 2008 happened. And then I spent most of my career in marketing. But I love how it has come full circle now for me to be able to take
Mhm.
all the years and experience of my being in the lending space over multiple different types of demographics and loan programs, being a wholesale mortgage broker, working with veterans, working with first time home buyers, working with very high wealth investors and tech employees, to working with those who might just have 100,000 or less.
Mhm.
So to us, we never discriminate. We've been there. We've
Yep.
been in a position of much debt and learning how to pay it off, and we didn't have the help of our family or parents, and nothing was ever given to us. We had to earn every single dollar in our careers. We have run the whole gamut, and so we're just so blessed to be able to help everybody here who's listening. And then on the flip side, on the back end side, help other realtors and other loan officers go back and learn how to share their story so they can do this and what we're doing with you and speaking with you today
Yep.
within their own niche. So if they're interested in scrapbooking, if they're interested in underwater basket weaving or welding or electricians, they can do that. I know that we are a very unique breed because we have had two lifetimes worth of very diverse experiences in our lives. And so I think that's our gift, to be able to connect with so many people and that we care so much, and sometimes to a fault. We don't probably do business the right way, which is probably just targeting what we are told in all of our real estate training, targeting the high wealth people who can make quick decisions. And yes, that would be ideal, but not everybody who needs help has all of that in place. We have been there. We are there. We
Mhm.
are the middle working class. And it's just a gift to be able to help you and then to help other people who do what we do reach out to their own communities.
Yeah. It's been a blessing. It's been such a whirlwind the past week or so, and just helping all the clients too because of the influx of buyers reaching out, those who are looking to refi. And I failed to mention sellers too. I have sellers that are reaching out now
Yeah.
because people who are working in tech are a little bit worried about their job situation this coming spring. And that's a real thing. We don't know what the future holds right now, but we do know what you have in hand. And even have a seller right now. He's got two homes and he works for a big tech company and he's worried about his job. So he wants to sell one of those homes in Nashville. It's a townhome, and so that he can just focus on living in that home that he loves down in Florida, but focusing on maybe looking for other job opportunities, looking to network. And a lot of people, we're feeling that right now. That's the pulse that we're feeling in the economy. A lot of people are looking for other jobs right now. They're a little uncertain about their current job situation or having to deal with consolidating debt, which is no fun, but that's something that causes stress and anxiety for families.
The other thing that I want to mention too, that you and I talked about just last night, really, we have heard so
Mhm.
many stories, and some of our close friends were able to dodge the latest round of layoffs.
Yeah.
But she's also the single income
Mhm.
provider.
Yeah.
And we work with a lot of clients who are just single income providers for their family. I want to say that if you own a home today, if you bought in at least the last 2 to 3 years, at least, and you have equity built up in your home, there's a lot of uncertainty that we expect,
Mhm.
and we're just going to be real here. Okay. So if everything in 2026 goes well, fantastic. We also know that if things don't go well in the economy, we would regret not telling you what we know now,
Yeah.
which is get your home in order. And what that means is if you already own a home and you are blessed with a home that you've bought at least a year or two ago or more, you potentially have equity that you can tap into. And what I will recommend is to get a HELOC. The reason why I recommend this is because while you still have a job, whether you're W 2, ideally W 2, you can do it with 1099 or a bank statement, but best is if you are employed with a W 2 job, get a HELOC while you still can. And that is just your rainy day fund. I know you probably have your cash savings, but in the case that you don't, your HELOC will act as a checking account for you. And what that means is if you lose your job, if your spouse loses your job, if in the case that both of you lose your job, if you have credit card debt, if you have a student getting ready to go to college, if you have tax that you have to pay, any rainy day fund, car emergencies, right? A car breaks down, any homeowner problems that you have to fix in your home, anything like that, you will have the ability to tap into your equity while you still can with your W 2. Because once you qualify and pull out your home equity line of credit, you could just let it sit there. You don't have to take any money out, in which case you owe zero per month. However, if you happen to lose your job and it might take you 3 months, 6 months, maybe even up to a year to find your next role, having the ability to tap into your home equity line of credit will allow you to have that time for you to breathe and not stress out so much while you're trying to find your next role. And this is important because if you miss a payment on your mortgage, on your credit card, or on your car loan, it is a huge ding to your credit, your score, your FICO score.
Mhm.
And if that happens and you ever want to refinance in the future, what that does is your score is going to be much lower, your rate's going to be higher, it's going to be more costly. So if you are in a position right now to get a HELOC, reach out to me, reach out to Tim, reach out to our team, and we'll have links below where you can just set yourself up. You do not have to pull any money out, only when you need it. And when you need it, for example, you only pay the interest only payment on the amount that you drew. So let's say, for example, you want to take out 100,000 and for your line of credit, you can just let it sit there.
You might want to talk a little bit about the process and like how easy it is actually to
Oh,
apply.
it's very easy. It's like a 2 week process. It actually doesn't cost very much at all. It's probably going to cost you a couple $100 for the processing fee. And then at most like $5,000. It really just depends, but
An
it's
appraisal too.
no, an appraisal is not needed.
Oh, that's great.
And so you're saving $1,000 there. But
Okay.
just to compare to the cost of a refinance, cash out refinance or home purchase, closing costs are typically 3%
Mhm.
of the home value. So in this case, it's pretty much fixed in that it's not based off of a percentage of your home value. But it's a very quick process, very few documentation, and you'll have access to tap into this cash essentially. It's your own bank for 10 years.
Yeah.
And so if you need to borrow against your home equity line of credit for 5,000, you're only paying interest only off of that 5,000. And then when you pay that off, you have full access to your 100 grand in that scenario. And you can do this over and over for 10 years.
Yeah.
That's just fantastic.
Yeah. So if you don't have the Dave Ramsey 3 to 6 months of your salary saved up, then this is a definitely a really good option.
And so it's a huge benefit, especially for, in what we're seeing, single income families who don't have, who are potentially living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, and we're recommending this because this is something we would actually do ourselves. So we were just talking about HELOCs. This is something that we do ourselves, which is why we're recommending it for you. So if you don't have something in place yet, be sure to reach out to one of us. On the topic of securing your homestead, this is something that I am truly passionate about. In fact, over 10 years ago, I read this book, Being Your Own Banker, and this has changed our lives today because we finally, like over 10 years from now, like to this day, Sophie opened up a policy too. So this is something that we actually do ourselves.
And this is coming from the mortgage banker.
This, okay. Yeah. So if you take a look at this book, and it's a very easy read, it's about how you can leverage life insurance so that you can be your own bank instead of having to go to the bank. Say you want to pay cash for something. Okay, if you used your cash, that's it. You've only used it one time and you've already paid for that car, for instance. But if you put the cash into the life insurance and build up your life insurance, you can pull that cash out anytime you want and it's not taxed, and then you can use that cash which from your life insurance and then purchase what you need to purchase or put it in as a down payment for a home. So this is especially good if you have your own business or if you're a farmer where it would be traditionally more difficult to get a loan. This
Mhm.
is a very good way of going about it, to the point where we were just out in Detroit and we were having dinner with other successful loan officers, and I asked, because I'm always curious, what are you guys doing for your retirement plan? Are you guys using a solo 401k plan? And we can always have another episode on this. I just want to touch on this slightly. And one of them mentioned to me, he said, no, I have life insurance. I'm like, oh my gosh, are you doing infinite banking? He's like, yes. And I'm like, wow, because I don't find too many people who are into this because I can geek out about it. And if you start searching online, there's a lot of bad press on whole life insurance, and that's because there is misunderstanding of what whole life insurance really is. People will say it's too expensive, just get term life insurance. Term life expires if you don't expire, and it may be cheaper, but in the long run, and if you have to read this book and you have to talk to people like myself and other people who are doing it right now, because it is a really good thing that can help you change the way that you think and change the way that you can properly protect and secure your home.
I think that's probably, when you talk about securing your homestead, that's the most important thing,
Mm.
right? Especially if you're talking about a single income family, dual income family, and something happens, especially with what we do here on the farm, you can get trampled over. And so there are things that could happen, but just even leaving the road, leaving your driveway could be dangerous. You never know. We're not promised any day. And being able to become your own banker is so important. And listen to me when I say that, because I am a banker myself, right?
Mhm.
I'm leveraging debt from the banks. But ultimately, the goal is, when you think about having term life insurance in our real estate world, the way I think about it is that is like renting. right? You never own it. You're going to get kicked out one day. That's term life insurance. But when you are able to implement the whole life insurance, when you're able to then slowly extrapolate and build up your cash value and become your own banker, now you own something, right? Because even if you had your money in the banks, there's reasons why there are FDIC insured in banks, right? There's a possibility that your money could be forfeited, right? And this is what we've seen with the Canadian truckers. And maybe I shouldn't talk about this on here, but like we have seen individuals who have said things that have potentially gotten their bank accounts seized or frozen. And that's because they have their money in the banks.
That's right.
And so this is one of the ways where when we talk about self-resilience,
Hmm.
self-sufficiency, being self-reliant, escaping from the system,
Yep.
escaping the rat race, this is the way. And so it's just incredible. We cannot wait to share
I love it.
with you. We're going to be doing more workshops. They're going to be free and there's no pressure at all. Just come and learn and ask your questions because I'm the one that asks so many questions
Hmm.
and I have been the one that's been so hesitant, but I just signed up for one because ultimately I just don't trust the system
That's right.
any longer.
And we're going to actually hold a workshop on this alone, on infinite banking. And this is going to be on the last Thursday of January. We'll have to check what that date is, but with the link will be below, and we're going to be on that workshop. We're also going to bring in a subject matter expert
Who's
who
been doing it himself for his own family for the last over 10 years.
I know I sound this is gonna sound really geeky, but I love whole life insurance. It is exactly vanilla. You say I'm vanilla, but it's so transparent. The fees are so transparent in terms of this is the cost of it today, and this is the cost of it 100 years from now. When you're still alive, you're gonna still be paying the same amount. There's no gimmicks, okay? There's no guesswork. Unlike the IUL policies and these other policies that we had, we didn't know that the fees would increase each year as we get
Yeah.
older.
So,
This
yeah.
whole life one, it's very simple. It's plain Jane, but the rich, the wealthy are leveraging it. They're using it so that they don't have to pay extra taxes. And you'll be able to become your own banker and have control over your money.
And what's interesting and fascinating about this is that you don't actually have to make any more money than you already do to leverage this. That was the question that I asked. I'm like, oh my gosh, so how much more money do I need to make? No, even if you're W 2, 1099, you're an entrepreneur, you can take the money as a W 2 employee and put it into your whole life. And it's just, I don't want to get into it more, but essentially, I just want to talk about that myth busting,
Yeah.
which is you don't need to make more money to become your own banker. It's just a matter of how you structure the way that your money is already coming in. So whether you make $20,000 a year, $30,000 a year, you can escape the system, right? You can escape it faster if you want to put more money in, but you'll still be able to escape the system if you make $20 or $30,000 annually. So it's
Yeah.
beautiful. It really is. And
I want to add one more thing because you talked about misnomers, and the biggest misnomer is that the only time you can use life insurance is when you expire. And that is only one way to use it. But we found there are so many other ways you can use life insurance while you are alive. And it's really good to hedge your bets to have life insurance because it's a prudent thing to do to protect your families. If something should happen, if you have an accident and you can't work anymore, life insurance can kick in. You don't have to expire. Maybe you're just disabled, you can still leverage life insurance. Or if you're older and you don't have the income and you need to use reverse mortgage, having that life insurance in place will pay back the home so that your children or your generations will be able to own that home. So it won't be bank owned. What a beautiful thing to do to be able to leverage the bank's money and still keep the home for your family.
yeah.
So we can go into detail about this more. And I'm just super excited about this upcoming workshop. But this all ties in with what we want to do, the ecosystem where we're helping people like you find homesteads or homes, find land, how to build, and then using those financial vehicles. Maybe we have to use some creative financing, for instance, and how to help you achieve your goals. But once you do, how do you protect those assets? How do you protect that homestead? How do you secure it for your family and build that generational legacy?
Yeah. I really wished that we had people in our lives to show us, one, how to find homes, how to help us compete with our VA in the Bay Area, how to find our homestead in the Bay Area, how to find it in Tennessee, how to then finance it, how to grow our food, how to now secure our homestead, how to make the fencing, how to milk our animals, and then how to become your own bank and how to make sure that if something happens, everything is going to be okay. I wished we had that. It's been a journey for us, and we're so grateful to be able to share it with you. If you want to learn, we are very no pressure people, and this is something that we talk about on the daily. And as we learn things, Tim's interested in different things, and I'm interested in different things, and it keeps life interesting for us. But ultimately, the goals for us have always been for our family to be self sufficient within community, to be able to live this lifestyle full of intention, to be able to know what's going into our bodies, into our food, into our minds, into our children's minds, and how to develop them, how to raise them up, how to prepare them for the future, teaching them the things, whether we've been homeschooling for 10 years now, and really trying to influence them with what skills they're going to need to learn, from hard skills to soft skills, financial skills, kitchen skills, homestead skills, all of the things. And for us, it's all about legacy and leaving behind a great legacy. So I hope that is helpful for you. And I hope that inspires you to take whatever knowledge that we can give to you and bring it back to your own families. And if you are still looking to buy a home, anywhere in the 50 states, including Alaska, DC, and Puerto Rico. We
Mhm.
encourage you to join us this Thursday, December 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, where we're going to be hosting our free workshop for you to learn everything about what the process is for you to buy your next home. And whether you're a veteran, whether you're a first time home buyer, this will be relevant for you. We'd love for you to come join us, and we will break down and simplify the steps for you. This is a huge market update for December, and we hope to get this out before the webinar, but this will be a great segue into how to buy your home. And if you're planning on buying a home in the next few months for 2026, definitely stay with us for the next couple of months so that you can learn how to set yourself up, how to get yourself debt free if you are in debt, how to become your own banker, how to leverage debt, how to buy your home, and how to make your next investment.
Yeah, we're just so excited to be able to share with you everything that we're learning along the way, and that we're not keeping our cards close to our chest, that we're sharing. If it's helping us, then we hope that it will help you and be a blessing for you as well. Thank you so much for listening. This has been great. We hope to see you Thursday evening. So, yes, this is going to have to go out before then. So,
Thanks,
until
Sunny.
then,
Stay healthy. Bye, friends.
bye.